She left Nigeria with one suitcase and one warning: never fall for your boss. But in Korea, on the 47th floor of a glass office, she did. What came next? Even love could not prepare her. Amaka lived in Gwagwalada, Abuja. Her home was small, a humble two-room apartment filled with laughter and struggle. Her mother, her younger sister, and her baby brother all lived with her. She was the firstborn, the strength of the family. She helped raise her siblings after their father died when she was just 13. Each morning, she took a dusty bus to a local law office where she worked as a receptionist. She typed documents, fetched coffee, and smiled even when she was sad. In the evening, she returned home, tied her wrapper, and began her second job, making soap and cream with natural oils. She sold them in the market to help her mother pay school fees. Her dream was bigger than Gwagwalada. Bigger than Nigeria. She wanted to see the world. One night, while scrolling through her small Android phone, she saw an ad: work in South Korea. Need English-speaking secretary. Her heart jumped. She clicked. She applied. Weeks later, the email came: you are selected. Her mother cried with joy. Her sister hugged her tight. Her brother gave her his old bracelet and whispered, don't forget us. At the airport, her mother held her hand. Amaka, promise me. Don't fall in love with your boss. Amaka smiled. But said nothing. Amaka stepped off the plane into a world of cold air and foreign words. The airport was big, bigger than any place she had ever seen. Everything moved fast. People wore coats, talked into phones, and hurried past her without a glance. A man held a card that said, "The Lunar Beauty, Miss Amaka." He wore dark glasses and didn't smile, but he took her bags and led her to a shiny black car. As they drove through Seoul, she stared at the tall buildings, the blinking lights, and the signs in a language she could not read. She felt both small and excited. They arrived at a tall building made of glass. It shined under the cloudy sky. The words at the top read, "The Lunar Beauty." Her heart beat fast. This was it. Inside, the floors were white, and everything smelled like fresh flowers. People walked quickly, clicking their heels. A woman gave her a badge and a folder. You are the new secretary. You will work with the CEO, she said without looking up. Amaka blinked. CEO. The woman nodded. Mr. Lee Min-jae. Be careful. He is not friendly. Amaka swallowed. She followed the directions to the elevator. The ride to the top was long. The glass walls showed her the whole city. It was beautiful, and scary. You can do this, she whispered to herself as the doors opened to the 47th floor. The 47th floor was silent, almost too quiet. Amaka's shoes made a soft click on the polished floor as she walked toward the glass double doors. She took a deep breath and knocked. Come in, a voice said firmly. Inside was a large office with wide windows showing all of Seoul. The man behind the big desk didn't look up at first. He was typing on a laptop. Then he slowly raised his head. You are late, he said. Amaka quickly checked her watch. She was 5 minutes early. But she bowed slightly and said, Sorry, sir. Sit, he said, pointing to a chair. Type this, he added, handing her a paper. Amaka sat. Her fingers moved across the keyboard. Her heart was racing. She wanted to do everything right. She felt his eyes on her. When she finished, he picked up the paper and read it. Your English is good, he said plainly. Thank you, she replied with a small, nervous smile. He didn't smile back. You will sit outside this office. Answer my calls. Type my documents. Keep my schedule. Don't make mistakes, he said. She nodded, trying not to look afraid. He waved his hand. That's all. Amaka walked out and sat at her small desk near the door. Her legs were still shaking. So this is Mr. Lee Min-jae, she whispered to herself. Cold like ice. But deep inside, she felt something she couldn't explain. At first, Amaka stayed quiet. She did her job. She smiled and kept her head low. But slowly, the office eyes turned toward her. Whenever she walked past, whispers followed. Some smiled to her face, but others rolled their eyes the moment she turned away. Why is the new girl always around the CEO? Someone murmured. She is just a secretary, another replied. A week later, Amaka found a piece of paper on her desk. The handwriting was rough. The message was cruel. Go back to Africa. You don't belong here. Her hands trembled as she read it. She looked around, hoping someone would say it was a joke. But no one came. No one stood for her. That night, she cried in the office bathroom, far from home and family. But she remembered her mother's voice, "You are strong, Amaka. You are light. Don't let anyone turn you off." So the next day, she came in early. She cleaned her desk. She worked harder. When others whispered, she smiled. But deep down, the pain stayed. She began writing in a small notebook. Not about work, but about her feelings. Her thoughts. Her hopes. Writing helped her breathe. The CEO noticed something. She never complained. She never answered the whispers. She just kept shining. And though he said nothing, Mr. Lee began to watch her, more closely than before. One rainy evening, the office was almost empty. Most workers had packed their bags and left, but Amaka stayed behind. Her desk was covered with files, and the glow from her computer screen lit her tired face. Rain tapped gently against the tall glass windows as she typed, her back aching from sitting too long. Mr. Lee stepped out of his office. He looked surprised to see her still there. "Why are you here?" he asked, his tone not as cold as usual. Amaka looked up quickly. "I'm almost done with your meeting files, sir. It's past 7. "Yes, sir. I'll be done soon." He nodded slowly but didn't leave. He stared at her desk. "You didn't eat lunch." Amaka was quiet for a second. "I wasn't hungry, sir." Mr. Lee said nothing more and walked away. A few minutes later, Amaka heard footsteps. He came back holding a small box. He placed it on her desk. "Eat. You'll be no use to me tomorrow if you faint." Amaka opened the box. Inside was a warm meal, rice, kimchi, egg rolls, and beef. She looked at him, touched. "Thank you." "Eat slowly," he said, before disappearing into his office again. As she took the first bite, something soft melted in her chest. The food warmed her body, but his kindness warmed something deeper. "Maybe he's not just cold," she whispered to herself. "Maybe he's just frozen." The next morning, the office was quiet. Amaka had arrived early, as always. Her desk was neat, her notes in order. Mr. Lee walked in at exactly 8 a.m. sharp. His face was serious, as usual. But something was different. His eyes lingered on her just a second longer. "Your schedule," Amaka said softly, handing him the printout. He reached for it, but their fingers brushed. Just lightly. Just enough. Amaka pulled her hand back quickly, but their eyes met. And for the first time, he smiled. Not a wide smile. Just a small one. But it was real. Her heart skipped. She looked away quickly, pretending to check something on her screen. Mr. Lee paused. "Good job," he said simply, before heading into his office. Amaka stared at the door after it closed. That smile stayed with her all day. She found herself smiling too, even when the phone rang or when someone dropped files too loudly. The office workers noticed. "Did the CEO just smile?" someone whispered. To her, another replied. The whispers didn't stop, but this time, they sounded more curious than cruel. That small smile broke something. A wall. A silence. A fear. Days passed, and Mr. Lee began greeting her in the morning. Once, he even held the elevator door for her. Small things. But they mattered. And Amaka? She no longer saw him as just cold. She saw him as someone who maybe needed a reason to be warm. A week passed. The weather grew colder, but something inside the office was warming. One morning, the elevator door opened, and to Amaka's surprise, Mr. Lee was inside, alone. He held the door and waited. "Good morning," he said. Amaka stepped in slowly. "Good morning, sir." The elevator began its slow rise. At first, they said nothing. Just silence and the soft hum of music. Then, out of nowhere, he spoke again. "Your Korean is improving." Amaka looked at him. "I've been practicing at night. I want to understand more." Mr. Lee gave a small nod. "You're a fast learner." The elevator stopped at the 47th floor. As they stepped out, he turned and said, "I'll be late from lunch. Hold my calls." "Yes, Sir, she said, surprised he told her anything outside the usual. That afternoon, he returned with 2 warm drinks in hand. One was placed gently on her desk. It's cold today, he said. Amaka stared at the cup. Thank you. She took a sip. It was sweet, just like she liked it. Her favorite. How did he know? She whispered. That evening, as she packed up, she found a small sticky note under the cup. Good work today. She smiled all the way home. Slowly, the ice was melting. Amaka walked into the office feeling tired but ready. It was her birthday, but she didn't expect anyone to know. In Nigeria, birthdays were loud, music, dancing, rice and stew, and hugs from family. But here in Korea, it was just another workday. Or so she thought. As she stepped out of the elevator, something made her pause. Her desk looked different. A small cake sat on top. A single candle stood in the center. Beside it was a folded card. She looked around. No one said anything. Then Mr. Lee appeared from his office. Happy birthday, he said simply. Amaka was shocked. You knew. It's in your file, he replied. Also, you've been working too hard. She opened the card. Inside, it read, to a hard-working and kind soul. May your dreams grow bigger than this office. Her eyes filled with tears. Thank you, sir, she said in a whisper. It's just cake, he said, almost awkwardly. But to Amaka, it was not just cake. It was care. It was kindness. It was home in a place that never felt like home. As she sat at her desk and blew the candle, the other workers slowly came around. One said, Happy birthday. Another brought her a small gift. A few smiled. Mr. Lee watched from his office window. And for the first time, Amaka felt seen. Not just as a secretary, but as a person. That afternoon, as the office returned to its usual rhythm, one pair of eyes didn't blink. Her name was Hairi. Smart. Sharp. And one of the company's senior managers. She had been with the Lunar Beauty for years, and she noticed everything. From her glass cubicle, she watched Amaka laughing softly with the other staff. She saw Mr. Lee glance toward her desk more than once. And then she saw the card. The cake. The soft smile on Amaka's face. Hairi clenched her pen. Later that day, she walked into Mr. Lee's office without knocking. We have the client pitch tomorrow, she said, voice calm but cold. Mr. Lee nodded. I'll be ready. Her eyes flicked to the desk outside. The new girl, she seems close to you. Mr. Lee looked up slowly. She's doing well. You've never bought cake for anyone else, she said, half smiling. It was her birthday. Right. Hairi paused. Just be careful, sir. People are talking. Mr. Lee didn't reply. That evening, as Amaka packed up to leave, Hairi passed by her desk. Happy birthday, she said with a tight smile. Enjoy it while it lasts. Amaka blinked. Thank you. Hairi walked away without looking back. Amaka stood there for a moment, feeling a chill. Something had changed. Not just kindness now, but attention. And attention, she knew, could be dangerous. A week later, a last-minute business trip came up. The company had to present at a beauty expo in Busan, and Mr. Lee needed someone to help with the slides and translation. He chose Amaka. You've earned it, he said, handing her the itinerary. The office buzzed with gossip. Why her? Someone asked. Why not Hairi? Hairi's smile was colder than the office air, but she said nothing. She just watched. Amaka packed her simple clothes. She had never traveled outside Seoul. The train ride to Busan felt like a movie. Mr. Lee sat beside her, reading notes, while Amaka peeked at the beautiful landscapes rushing past. At the hotel, Amaka's room was right next to his. Her heart raced when she saw the door numbers. But she told herself, be professional. That night, as they reviewed the slides together, a knock interrupted them. Room service. Mr. Lee had ordered 2 meals. You need to eat, he said. They sat on the floor beside the bed, eating from small plates. Do you miss Nigeria? He asked. Amaka nodded. Every day. Why did you come? To help my family. To grow. To see the world. Mr. Lee was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, you're stronger than you look. Amaka looked at him, surprised. And for the first time, she saw not just her boss, but a man. The distance between them felt smaller than ever. When they returned to Seoul, the air in the office was no longer the same. The whispers had grown louder. The stares sharper. Even the ones who used to smile at Amaka now looked away. Harry waited in silence. Then she struck. During a department meeting, she stood up and addressed the board. There's been concern about favoritism in the workplace, she said with fake calm. Some staff are being given special trips, meals, attention. It's hurting team spirit. The room froze. Mr. Lee's face hardened. Are you suggesting I'm not fair in my decisions? He asked, eyes fixed on her. I'm only saying what others are afraid to say, she replied. This is a professional space. Not a personal playground. Everyone looked at Amaka. Her throat tightened. She wanted to speak. To explain. But her voice failed. After the meeting, Mr. Lee asked her to stay behind. I'm sorry, she said softly. I never meant for this. He shook his head. This is not your fault. You did nothing wrong. Maybe. I should quit, she whispered, tears forming. No, he said firmly. Let them talk. But don't give them what they want. For the first time, she saw anger in his eyes, not at her, but for her. And just like that, the storm outside pushed them closer inside. A few days after the stormy meeting, Amaka came in early, hoping to bury herself in work and forget the judgmental eyes. She sat down, opened her drawer, and reached for her pen. That's when she saw it. A small folded note. Carefully tucked under her notebook. Her heart skipped. She looked around. No one was watching. She opened it slowly. The handwriting was neat. When the world points fingers, don't bow your head. Raise it. Because you were never small. There was no name. No signature. Just those words. Her eyes stung with tears, but this time, they were warm. Someone believed in her. She held the note to her chest and whispered, "Thank you, whoever you are." That day, she worked with new energy. She answered calls with cheer. Her typing was faster. Her smile returned. Mr. Lee noticed. During lunch, he stopped by her desk. Are you okay? He asked. She looked up, unsure whether to mention the note. But something in his eyes already knew. I'm okay, she said. He nodded. Good. Then he walked away. Amaka placed the note inside her notebook. Safe. Close. Whoever left it had given her more than words. They had given her courage. It was late in the afternoon, and Amaka was finishing the last batch of emails. The office was quiet, most of the workers had already packed their things. She was about to shut down her computer when a soft chime sounded. A new message popped up on her screen. It was from Mr. Lee. Join me for dinner tonight. 7:30 p.m. Dress warm. I'll wait in the lobby. Her heart jumped. She read it again to be sure. Then again. Dinner, she whispered. For a moment, she didn't know what to do. Was it a mistake? Was he inviting her as a friend? Or as something more? She walked home quickly, her mind spinning. At home, she changed clothes 3 times. Finally, she chose a simple dark blue dress and a coat. Her sister's bracelet was still on her wrist. She touched it gently for luck. At 7:25, she was already in the lobby. Mr. Lee arrived right on time. He wore a warm coat, and his hair looked slightly tousled, like he had actually taken time to style it. He didn't smile much, but his eyes looked soft. You came, he said. You asked, she replied. They walked into the cold evening. The streets of Seoul glittered with lights. He took her to a quiet restaurant tucked in a narrow street, small, warm, and cozy. As they sat across from each other, the waiter brought hot soup. Their eyes met. And something unspoken filled the space between them. The restaurant was calm, lit with soft candles and quiet music that wrapped around them like a blanket. Amaka sat across from Mr. Lee, her hands wrapped around the warm cup of tea the waiter had placed in front of her. Do you come here often? She asked, breaking the silence. Only when I need peace, he answered. Amaka smiled. Then why bring me? He looked at her, his eyes deep and unreadable. Because, you bring peace too. Her cheeks warmed. She looked down, unsure what to say. He reached into his coat pocket and brought out a small box. Amaka's heart jumped. "This is not a ring," he said quickly, almost nervously. "Just something I saw and thought of you." She opened it. Inside was a simple necklace, a silver chain with a small star charm. "Stars shine even in the darkest sky," he said. "Like you." Amaka blinked fast, holding back tears. "Thank you. It's beautiful." He looked at her for a long moment. His mouth opened, like he wanted to say something more. But then the waiter returned, breaking the moment. Mr. Lee cleared his throat. "Eat before it gets cold." Amaka nodded, though her heart was still waiting for the words he didn't say. That night, as they walked back, their hands brushed. He didn't pull away. And neither did she. The morning after the dinner, Amaka arrived early at work, her heart still replaying the soft flicker of candlelight, the star-shaped necklace, and the warmth of Mr. Lee's hand beside hers. But peace didn't last. At 10:15 a.m., a message burst into the office chat group, "CEO's engagement to the chairman's daughter confirmed." Amaka stood beside the copy machine, blinking at the screen. The breath left her body. Around her, murmurs began. So it's true. He was just being nice to the secretary until the real deal was done. Poor girl. Amaka's fingers trembled. She walked quietly to her desk, sat down, and opened her drawer. Her eyes fell on the star necklace. Still shining. Still gentle. But now, it felt heavy. Mr. Lee came out of his office. For the first time in weeks, he looked distant. "Meeting at noon," he said to no one in particular. He didn't look at her. Amaka nodded slowly, her voice lost somewhere inside her. At lunch, she stayed back at her desk. She didn't touch her food. The whispers continued, but she didn't care anymore. Her world was spinning. She took the necklace, wrapped it in tissue, and placed it inside her bag. That afternoon, she worked like a machine, silent, cold, distant. And deep in her chest, something cracked. Was it all a lie? Or was he just afraid to choose? That night, Amaka couldn't sleep. Her tiny apartment felt colder than usual. The city lights outside blinked like distant stars, far away and unreachable. She lay in bed, hugging her pillow, the wrapped necklace still in her bag by the door. Her chest felt heavy. Tears tried to fall, but her eyes had gone dry. Around 11:48 p.m., her phone buzzed. A call. The name on the screen made her heart skip, Mr. Lee. She stared at it. Her finger hovered. Then she answered. "Hello," her voice cracked. Silence. Then his voice. "I'm sorry." She didn't know what to say. "Amaka. I didn't want it to happen like this," he continued. "The engagement, it's arranged. For business. I never agreed to it, but the board, they pushed. My father." "You didn't tell me," she whispered. "I was afraid. Of losing the company. Of hurting you. Of both." She closed her eyes. "So what now?" He took a breath. "I don't know. But I had to call. I had to let you hear it from me." She wiped her face. "You made me feel like I mattered. Then you vanished." "You do matter," he said, voice firm now. "More than anyone knows." There was silence between them. Long quiet. Deep. "Good night, Amaka," he said softly. "Good night," she whispered. But she didn't sleep. Her heart wouldn't let her. The next morning, Amaka dragged herself out of bed. Her eyes were puffy, her heart still aching. She barely had the strength to prepare for work. But as she reached for her bag, her phone buzzed again. It was a message from Nigeria. From her little brother, Toby. She opened it. A short video played. Toby stood outside their family house, holding up a hand-drawn sign, "Happy birthday, big sis. We love you." Behind him, their mother waved, laughing, "Amaka. We are proud of you." Then came Toby's tiny voice. "Don't let anyone make you sad, okay? You're our star. Shine." Amaka's lips trembled. Tears spilled before she could stop them. She sat on the bed, clutching the phone to her chest. For the first time in days, she smiled. She typed back, "Tell Mama I miss her soup. And tell you, you better be studying." Toby replied instantly with a voice note. Yes, Ma. But I miss your voice more. Amaka laughed through her tears. That sound, her family's joy, became her strength. She stood up, fixed her hair, and slipped on her shoes. They believe in me, she whispered to herself. That's enough. With her heart a little lighter, Amaka left the apartment. The office, the whispers, the pain, they would wait. But right now, she was walking with love in her heart. The entire company had been summoned for a surprise town hall meeting. Whispers filled the room like bees in a hive. Amaka sat quietly in the back, her heart steady but unsure. Mr. Lee walked onto the stage. He wore a grey suit, sharp as always, but his eyes looked softer. More human. Thank you all for coming, he began, voice calm. There's been a lot of noise lately, stories, rumors, distractions. He paused. The room went quiet. I want to be clear. No staff member has ever received favor based on personal reasons. Every decision I've made, every person I've trusted, was based on merit. Amaka looked down. Her hands clenched on her lap. There's also been talk of my engagement, Mr. Lee continued. Yes, there was an arrangement. One I never asked for. One I have now refused. A gasp ran through the room. This company stands for innovation and courage. If I can make my own choices, how can I lead with integrity? His eyes scanned the crowd. For a second, they paused on Amaka. Just long enough. I won't apologize for respecting someone's hard work. Or for seeing strength where others don't. The room remained silent. Then, slowly, someone clapped. Then another. And another. Amaka sat frozen. Her heart beat loud in her ears. For the first time, he had spoken, not just to the company, but for her. That evening, after the meeting, the city was calm. A soft snow began to fall, dusting the streets in white. Amaka had left the office with her head spinning, unsure of what came next. As she turned the corner near her train stop, a familiar voice called her name. Amaka. She turned. Mr. Lee stood there, his coat dusted with snow, his breath visible in the cold. Walk with me, he asked. She hesitated. Then nodded. They walked in silence at first. Just the soft crunch of snow beneath their feet and the hum of street lamps above them. You didn't have to do that, she said quietly. At the meeting. Yes, I did, he replied. I've made too many decisions for the wrong reasons. I won't lose what's right for me, not again. She stopped walking. He stopped too. And what is right for you, she asked. He turned to face her. You. Her breath caught. The snow fell gently between them, like time had paused. I know this isn't easy, he said. But I don't want to pretend anymore. Amaka looked into his eyes. For the first time, there was no cold. No fear. Just truth. She stepped closer. Then don't, she whispered. Their fingers touched. And in that moment, under the falling snow, something fragile and real began. The next morning, the office buzzed with its usual rhythm. Phones rang, keys clicked, coffee steamed in paper cups. But something felt different. Amaka stepped in wearing her soft cream blouse and her sister's bracelet, her shoulders just a bit straighter, her steps lighter. Whispers still trailed behind her, but they no longer stung. Not after the walk in the snow. Not after the truth was spoken. Mr. Lee stood by the large glass window of his office, staring out. When she walked past, he turned. Their eyes met. He gave a small nod. Simple. Private. But enough. Minutes later, his assistant came to her desk. The CEO wants you to sit in on the board presentation today, she said. Amaka blinked. Me? You're listed as co-presenter. The assistant walked away before she could ask more. Amaka's hands trembled slightly as she looked at the file on her desk. Her name, right beside his, in bold. She wasn't just a secretary anymore. Hours later, she stood beside Mr. Lee in the sleek boardroom. Executives in suits stared as she clicked through slides, speaking with calm and confidence. Mr. Lee didn't interrupt once. He stood beside her, not over her. And when the meeting ended with applause, one of the directors leaned forward. She's not just good, he said. She's the future. Mr. Lee smiled. Exactly. And as they walked out of the boardroom, side by side, Amaka knew. A door had opened, and she was ready to walk through it. But just as the elevator doors closed behind them, a message lit up Mr. Lee's phone. His face changed with anger. "Amaka, what have you done?" he said, voice low. Her smile faded. Something was coming. Something that could change everything again. Do you think this love will stand the test of time or not? Stay tuned. If you like stories like this, like, share and subscribe for more interesting Afro love stories.